Have you ever found yourself caught in an endless loop of thoughts about someone, where their presence lingers in your mind from the moment you wake up until you fall asleep? That persistent echo of their memory that just won't fade away. No matter how hard you try to push it aside, you're not alone in this experience. And today, we're about to uncover something fascinating about these recurring thoughts that might completely transform how you understand your own mind. What if I told you that this constant thinking isn't just random mental chatter? What if these persistent thoughts are actually trying to tell you something profound about yourself? Something that could unlock a deeper understanding of your own emotional landscape. You see, I've spent years studying the intersection of psychology and spiritual wisdom, and I've discovered that when someone occupies our thoughts this intensely, it's rarely about them at all. It's about something much deeper, something that's been hidden in the shadows of your consciousness, waiting to be acknowledged. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you tried to distract yourself, only to have their image float back into your awareness? How often have you wondered why, out of all people, this particular person seems to have taken up permanent residence in your thoughts? The answer lies in a fascinating psychological phenomenon that most people never realize exists. It's something that combines ancient wisdom with modern neuroscience. And once you understand it, it could completely change how you view these persistent thoughts. Before we dive deeper into this revelation, I want you to know that what you're experiencing isn't a sign of weakness. In fact, it might be your mind's way of guiding you toward an important discovery about yourself. If you're finding value in these insights already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we're about to embark on a journey that could revolutionize your understanding of your own inner world. You see, there's a hidden language in these recurring thoughts, a message that your subconscious mind is trying to convey. And it all begins with understanding a crucial concept that psychologist Carl Jung once discovered in his work with patients who couldn't stop thinking about certain people in their lives. Let me share a story that might resonate with you. Sarah, a client I worked with, came to me utterly exhausted from constantly thinking about her former colleague, Michael. These thoughts weren't romantic. They were more like a constant replay of their interactions, their conversations, the way he seemed so confident in every situation. She couldn't understand why he, of all people, occupied so much space in her mind. But here's where it gets interesting. As we began to explore these thoughts together, we discovered something profound. The qualities that kept drawing Sarah's attention to Michael: his confidence, his ability to speak up in meetings, his seemingly effortless way of setting boundaries, were actually aspects of herself that she had suppressed throughout her life. This is what Jung called projection, a powerful psychological mechanism where our mind fixates on someone else because they represent parts of ourselves that we've either lost touch with or never fully developed. Think about it. When someone's constantly on your mind, what qualities do they possess that you find yourself drawn to? What aspects of their personality seem to capture your attention the most? The fascinating truth is that your mind isn't actually obsessing over the person. It's trying to show you something about yourself. It's like your subconscious has found a mirror in this person, reflecting back to you the potential that lies dormant within your own psyche. Let's take a moment to really let this sink in. Close your eyes for a second, if you're in a safe place to do so, and think about that person who keeps occupying your thoughts. What is it about them that seems to command so much of your attention? What qualities do they embody that you might be yearning to express in your own life? Have you ever found yourself caught in an endless loop of thoughts about someone, where their presence lingers in your mind from the moment you wake up until you fall asleep? That persistent echo of their memory that just won't fade away, no matter how hard you try to push it aside. This understanding completely transforms how we view these persistent thoughts. Instead of seeing them as a burden or something to fight against, we can begin to see them as signposts, pointing us toward aspects of ourselves that are asking to be acknowledged and developed. But here's where many people get stuck. You might be thinking, okay, I understand these thoughts might be showing me something about myself, but how do I work with this knowledge? How do I move from understanding to actual transformation? This is where ancient wisdom meets modern psychology in a beautiful dance of self-discovery. In Buddhist tradition, there's a practice called the observer mind, the ability to step back and watch your thoughts as if you're watching clouds pass across the sky. This isn't about suppressing or fighting against these thoughts. It's about creating a gentle space of awareness around them. Let me share a powerful technique that combines this ancient wisdom with contemporary psychological insight. I call it the mirror reflection practice. Here's how it works. The next time you find yourself caught in a spiral of thoughts about someone, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and ask yourself these 3 questions. First, what specific quality or characteristic about this person keeps drawing my attention? Second, where in my life have I felt the absence of this quality? And third, this is the crucial one. How might my life be different if I fully embodied this quality myself? If you're finding value in these insights, take a moment to give this video a quick like. It helps others discover these transformative concepts too. And trust me, what I'm about to share next might completely shift your perspective on personal growth. You see, these recurring thoughts aren't just random mental activity. They're actually doorways to profound personal transformation. Think of them as your mind's way of holding up a mirror, showing you precisely what you need to integrate into your own life for your next stage of growth. Remember Sarah, whom I mentioned earlier. As she began working with the mirror reflection practice, she made a fascinating discovery. Those qualities she admired in Michael, the confidence, the boundary setting, the self-assurance, weren't just random attributes she noticed. They were actually qualities she had denied herself permission to express throughout her life. Growing up in a family where she was always expected to be accommodating and put others first, Sarah had learned to suppress her own voice. Michael wasn't just a former colleague who happened to be on her mind. He was a living embodiment of the freedom of self-expression she yearned for in her own life. This realization was revolutionary for Sarah. Instead of trying to stop thinking about Michael, she began to use those thoughts as guidance for her own growth. Each time his image appeared in her mind, instead of feeling frustrated, she would ask herself, what would it look like for me to embody this quality in my own unique way? Have you ever found yourself caught in an endless loop of thoughts about someone, where their presence lingers in your mind from the moment you wake up until you fall asleep? That persistent echo of their memory that just won't fade away, no matter how hard you try to push it aside. The real magic began to happen when Sarah started taking small steps to express these qualities in her daily life. She began speaking up more in meetings, not in an attempt to copy Michael, but in her own authentic way. She started setting gentle but firm boundaries with family members. With each small step, something remarkable happened. The constant thoughts about Michael began to naturally diminish. This brings us to a profound truth about our inner landscape. When we begin to integrate these mirrored qualities into our own lives, we often discover that persistent thoughts were never really about the other person. There's a beautiful concept in Jungian psychology called individuation, the process of becoming who we truly are. Think of it like a garden. These recurring thoughts are like persistent weeds that keep sprouting up, demanding our attention. But what if, instead of trying to eliminate them, we recognize them as signs pointing to where we need to plant new seeds of growth? Let me guide you through a powerful visualization exercise. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place to do so. Imagine these persistent thoughts as golden threads of light, each one connected to a quality within yourself waiting to be awakened. As you follow each thread back to its source, you might discover that what you've been seeking in others has been within you all along, just waiting to be acknowledged and expressed. This is where many of us experience a profound shift in our relationship with these thoughts. Instead of feeling haunted by them, we begin to feel grateful for their presence. They become our teachers, our guides on the path to self-discovery. Take Maria, another person I worked with, who couldn't stop thinking about her friend's artistic expression and creativity. She'd spend hours scrolling through her friend's social media, feeling a mixture of admiration and an inexplicable longing. Through our work together, Maria realized that these thoughts weren't about coveting her friend's artistic abilities. They were her own creative spirit crying out for expression. The transformation began when Maria started dedicating just 15 minutes each day to creative expression. She didn't aim to match her friend's skill level or style. Instead, she focused on reconnecting with that part of herself that longed to create. With each sketch, each moment of creative play, the obsessive thoughts about her friend's art began to transform into inspiration for her own journey. This points to a universal truth about human consciousness. Our minds have an innate wisdom that constantly guides us toward growth and integration. Those recurring thoughts about someone? They're not your mind working against you. They're your inner wisdom working for you, highlighting exactly what you need for your next stage of evolution. Have you ever found yourself caught in an endless loop of thoughts about someone, where their presence lingers in your mind from the moment you wake up? That persistent echo of their memory that just won't fade away, no matter how hard you try to push it aside. Consider for a moment, what if every persistent thought about someone else is actually a love letter from your subconscious, pointing you toward aspects of yourself that are ready to bloom? What if these thoughts aren't problems to be solved, but invitations to be accepted? This understanding opens up a whole new way of being with our thoughts. Instead of seeing them as intrusive or unwanted, we can approach them with curiosity and compassion. Each time that person appears in your mind, it's an opportunity to ask yourself, what gift is my inner wisdom trying to give me right now? The real transformation happens when we stop trying to escape these thoughts and start using them as guideposts for growth. Remember, your mind isn't torturing you with these recurring thoughts. It's trying to heal you, to make you whole, to guide you toward the person you're meant to become. Let's take a moment to bring this all together with a simple daily practice. Each time you notice yourself thinking about that person, pause and take 3 conscious breaths. In that space of awareness, ask yourself, what quality am I seeing in them that's asking to be awakened in me? Then take one small action to express that quality in your own unique way. It might feel challenging at first, like learning to write with your non-dominant hand. But with each small step, each moment of conscious awareness, you're not just reducing those persistent thoughts, you're actually becoming more fully yourself. If you've stayed with me this far, you've already taken the first step on this transformative journey. You're no longer just someone who's haunted by recurring thoughts. You're becoming someone who understands the language of your own inner wisdom. Before we part ways, I want to remind you of something important. This journey of self-discovery and integration isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself. Those persistent thoughts about others, they're not your mind's way of telling you what you lack. They're your soul's way of showing you what you're ready to embody. If you found value in these insights, remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell. This community is about supporting each other on the journey of self-discovery, and I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. What qualities have you discovered hiding within your persistent thoughts about others? Remember, every time that person crosses your mind now, you have a choice. Instead of pushing the thought away, you can thank it for showing you another piece of your own magnificent potential. Because in the end, those recurring thoughts aren't about them at all. They're about the amazing person you're becoming. Until next time, stay curious about your inner world and trust that every persistent thought is leading you exactly where you need to go.